So the NFL has gone completely woke. I mean, they've gone woke. Okay? So make sure you hit the like button. Make sure you subscribe. Make sure you check out the links in the description box to all my channels, all 4 of my channels. And subscribe to all 4 of them so you can see the videos, the content I put on all 4 of them daily. You're missing a lot of videos if you're not subscribed to all the channels in the network. Curtis Flowers. Curtis Flowers. Say his name, says the NFL. Curtis is one of many individuals being honored by players and coaches this season through the NFL's helmet decal program. So there's a nice picture of Curtis right there. He was born from Curtis Flowers, hometown Winona, Mississippi. He says, "I'm so blessed and humbled and thankful that the NFL and Rock Nation chose to include me to be honored in today's movement for social change and justice. I am a lifelong lover of the NFL and the work this organization does in our society." Now, just a spoiler. This is probably the dumbest thing the NFL's ever done. "Thanks to my Lord, Jesus Christ, my family, friends, supporters, and my dream legal team." I give him credit for that. "For this opportunity, I continually think about all of them, the men and women who are still unjustly incarcerated. The time is now to make things right. What better partners to have who make a difference than the NFL and Rock Nation? Thank you. You and be blessed." So some of y'all may be wondering what this Curtis Flowers situation is all about. Okay? And this is typical 2020 NFL. Typical. We already saw with Antoine Rose, the young kid in Pittsburgh, who did the drive-by shooting. And then the police pulled him over. He hops out the car, tries to toss a gun. The police don't know what's going on. The police shoots him. He dies. And the NFL puts his name on the back of their helmets. Pittsburgh Steelers put their name on the back of their helmets. This guy, Curtis Giovanni Flowers, is an American man who was tried for murder 6 times in the U.S. state of Mississippi. 4 of the trials resulted in convictions. So he was convicted 4 times, but all which were overturned on appeal. You'll have the right to appeal. This happens very commonly. This is not uncommon. I want you to know this, because a lot of people not in the legal system think, "Oh my God, they overturned it." That's extremely common. They'll try you again. You can exhaust your appeals. But when you have a great legal team like this guy had lawyers. You would need to be a gazillionaire to have his legal team. But because he was a black man in Mississippi, a bunch of white liberals from up north came down there and basically made it a racial thing. So here's what was Curtis Flowers convicted of, you say? Flowers was alleged to have committed the July 16th, 1996 shooting deaths of 4 people inside Tardy Furniture Store in Winona, the seat of Montgomery County. 4 people in a furniture store. He was first convicted in 1997. In 5 of the 6 trials, the prosecutor, District Attorney Doug Evans, sought the death penalty against Flowers. Now, just to give you a spoiler, Doug Evans is being called a racist by white liberals on Twitter today. They're saying he deserves to be in jail, the prosecutor. Because remember, we all have cases in our city. We had cases in our city. We had the case in D.C., the biggest case, the D.C. sniper. When you have these big cases, people want convictions. It's not uncommon for the public to want convictions, and for the district attorney, who's an elected official many times, for it to be pressure for him to want a conviction. But in this case, since it's Mississippi and the defendant is a suspect is a black person, the only suspect, might I ask you, since then they haven't found anybody else that they think did this except for this guy. But the district attorney, people are calling for the district attorney to be jailed for daring to want the only suspect in a quadruple murder to get the death penalty. So what happened, you might ask? Give me some particulars in this case. You're saying this black guy who's being honored with a helmet decal on all the 32 NFL teams' helmets, uniforms today. You're telling me that this guy might have done something wrong. Give me the particulars. Okay, let's see what happened. On the morning of July 16th, 1996, a retired employee of Tardy Furniture entered the store and found 4 bodies. The owner, Bertha Tardy, and 3 other employees, Robert Golden, Carmen Rigby, and Derek Stewart, who was 16 at the time of his murder. Okay, so a retired employee comes in. The owner's dead. 3 other employees laid, all of them shot to death. Curtis Flowers was immediately suspected after police learned that he had been fired from the store 13 days prior to the murder. Oh, you thought they just grabbed a black man. You thought it was a murder in Winona, and the police went around and said, "You, black guy, come here, you did it. It's the Jim Crow South. We just gonna put this on you, cause you black. 4 people were found dead, and we gotta find a black person to put it on." That's how they do it, right? That's how the white liberals on Twitter tell you they do it. But y'all know from being on this channel, you know it's actually the opposite. The justice system is very bureaucratic and it favors the criminal in this country, white or black or Hispanic. Especially in murder, where you need a preponderance of evidence to get a murder conviction. So, they learned he'd been fired 13 days prior to the murder. And they also learned that he owed the owner $30 for a cash advance on his paycheck. So she wanted her money. The owner, she had fired him, and she wanted her $30 that she gave him as a cash advance. You know, small business owner, small margins. This Curtis Flowers guy, he was not happy about being fired. Still, doesn't mean that he did it. We need more evidence. We need this little town. It could have been anybody that killed this guy, killed these 4 people. Certain eyewitnesses said they saw flowers near the front of the store on the morning of the shootings. So we have them on the scene. That's one thing at murders. You guys notice from watching all these shows, watching First 48, Forensic Files, you know, different Law and Order. You have to have someone put the person in the scene, whether it be video camera, whether it be forensic evidence. And this, you know, could be DNA, some kind of something the person left on the scene, or fingerprints, or just, you know, anything, you know. Maybe the cell phone for data, but you wouldn't have had that back in that time. Or maybe they even, you know, bought something at a store nearby. Anything that puts them on the scene of a murder is something that police need for a conviction. In this case, they have eyewitnesses saying he was out in front of the store in the morning of the shootings. Just happened to be this guy who was fired 13 days prior, was out in front of the store in the morning of the shootings. Still, that doesn't mean he did it. No gun was found but bullets from the scene were determined to be the same caliber as the gun that had been stolen from Flowers' uncle's car the same day as the murders. Now, I want you to think about this. His uncle had a gun stolen from his car. So we have to, that day, this day, so we have to think that if the killer's not Curtis Flowers, someone else stole his uncle's gun, went down to his old job, executed the owner and all the other employees, and then vanished into thin air. How many of y'all believe that? It's plausible. That could have happened. Somebody could have come that morning, someone else, stolen the gun from Curtis's uncle's car, now I give you this, it's a hell of a coincidence. It's a hell of a coincidence. However, it could have happened. That same morning that four of this guy's ex-co-workers were murdered on the morning he was seen by several people outside of the front of the store. A gun, the same type of gun used in that murder, could have been stolen from his uncle's car by someone else who went down to that same furniture shop by coincidence, just happened to go to that same furniture shop and kill 4 people. Think about it, could have happened. I'm a thief, I'm going around looking in people's cars. Oh, I found a gun. What am I gonna do now? Let me go down to the Tardy furniture store and kill everybody. That same morning, because remember, this happened that morning. So, like, it was just stolen. That same day it was stolen, it was used. It wasn't like the guy who stole, the other mystery man who stole the gun from Curtis Flowers' uncle. It's not like he waited a few days or a month where you could say, man, he probably sold it. He could have sold that gun. That same day, within hours of that gun being stolen, the mystery person who committed this heinous quadruple murder went down to the person they stole it from. They went down to his nephew's job and killed everybody. This the guy they got on the NFL. And my thing about it is, okay, I have no problem with people beating cases, because that's the legal system. You have the right to defend yourself. You have right to attorney. If your attorney beats the case, fine. And if your attorney is like a dream team of white race-baiting liberal lawyers from the North that come down and want to make everybody in the South seem racist, fine. Those are your lawyers. They beat the case. But God dog, man, y'all put this guy's name on the back of the helmet. And then he was convicted 4 times for this. And he's been in jail for 20 years. So this case drew national attention from the America Public Media podcast, In the Dark. Okay? So they went through this and they found out, potential misconduct. This is what you need to say. This is what you need to understand. The serious doubt was cast on the legitimacy of the case against Flowers, including retracted confessions by numerous witnesses and potential misconduct by the prosecutor. Potential misconduct by the prosecutor and the disappearance of a gun, potentially the murder weapon, after it was turned over to police. And my question is, what does all that have to do with whether this guy did it or not? That the prosecutor was potentially did misconduct. And one of the things they're using as misconduct is the fact that they say they didn't have black jurors. Black jurors were excluded from the jury pool. And I don't know if that's true. I wasn't down there, but, you know, whatever. They say, whatever. Black jury, but we all know that it's very hard to get convictions when you have a black suspect, when you have a black person on the jury. We know that. Plenty of data, all the data's in. The data is in. Jack, if you got a black person on the jury, it's hard to get a conviction on a black suspect, no matter what he did. No matter if he killed 4 people. Very hard to get that black person to give you a conviction. And I'm not saying it never happens. I'm saying it's very hard. So, down there, they probably knew they had to get a conviction on this case. 4 murders, the only suspect. There's only one suspect. It's not like we're chasing leads all over town. It's not like the police are looking this way, listening to this guy. There's only one suspect. The guy who was fired 13 days prior, who was upset, who still owed his old boss some money, whose uncle's gun was stolen a few hours before the murder, whose gun matches the same ballistics as the bullets used in the murder. And again, who's the only guy, the only suspect? They don't have, like, it's not like, could have been this guy, could have been that guy. There's only one suspect. And the NFL's putting this guy on, whether this guy beat his case or not, it means nothing to me. I'm not losing no sleep off. What I'm saying is, this notion that, like, okay, like white liberals, we thank you, black community, we need help. But releasing criminals back into our community is not the help we need. It's like every time white liberals come around to help, they're either burning down our stores. We love black people. We support black people. You come in the community, burn down our stores, burn down our neighborhoods, then leave. Block off our streets protesting, and then leave. Or release a bunch of criminals back in our community that you don't live in. If there were other suspects, if it was like, could have been this guy, could have been that guy, trust me, I'd be like, all right, fine. I'd be like, fine, you know? I literally would be like, fine, all right, it could have been another guy that they investigating. Maybe this brother did get a raw deal. But the particulars of this case is like, god damn. Like, this is the guy that's going on the helmets? Like, either this guy did it, or the tooth fairy did it. And they came down there and said, oh, well, they wouldn't let black jurors. And I don't know. And this is, okay, so this town is 50% black and 42% white. %50 black and 42% white. And they have a Republican mayor, Jerry Flowers. No relation. 50% black, 42% white, Republican mayor. Everybody down there is racist because they wanted this black guy locked up. Who've been convicted. But if white people was on the jury, they had to be racist for convicting this guy. And listen, the fact that there were no black people on the not a lot of black people on the jury, I don't know what that has to do with the fact that he's the only suspect. He was disgruntled. He was on the scene at the time of the murder. The gun used in the murder matches the ballistics of the gun stolen from his uncle's car hours before. Who gives a crap if somebody down there is racist? And the prosecutor was sued by the local NAACP. This is what the NAACP doing. Spending their time on guys like this. And they seek the class action status to include all jury-eligible black residents of his district based on his alleged systematic racial discrimination in jury selection. And these white people are celebrating. We got this guy free. Thanks. Okay, great. Now the black community is what? So it's basically now impossible to convict him because all the witnesses are dead. Okay? This was 25 years ago. The witnesses are dead. It's just that my whole thing is just that damn white liberals. Like, God, dog. Thanks, I guess. Thank you. Woohoo! Thanks. In the NFL, thanks. Thanks, NFL. You got this guy's name on the helmets of all the players this week. Thanks. Thank you. You really care about the black community? This shows that you care about black people? Get in the comment section, man. Like, subscribe, donate. Peace about.